Shalom and blessings. Good morning, Mishpaka. I love you all. We are going to be continuing on with the return of Yahusha. The beginning is near, and we are on video 5. With Bella Beans. Say hi. Bella, say hi. Yeah. Okay. She wants to just lay in my lap. She usually falls asleep. Okay, so we are on Blasphemy against the Ruach. The spirit of Yahusha comes in the name of Yahusha. This spirit, Hebrew Ruach, gives us our faith, in Hebrew Emunah, as a free gift. This faith enables us to believe and empowers us to love what is true and faithful, thereby producing the evidence of our faith, obedience. This free gift of Emunah, our faith, faithfulness, fidelity, must be received. The mind which each one of us has been given is the most sophisticated machine known in this universe at this time. Yahuwah formed our spirit, placed it in our hearts, and enabled us to grasp eternity. Ecclesiastes 3:11. He is spirit and gives grace, clemency, or favor. That's what that means. To the humble, but resists the proud. The Hebrew concept of grace is chesed, meaning kindness, favor. One Hebrew letter away from chesed, meaning shame or reproach. It means literally the unmerited loving kindness of Yahuwah. And
Sam has a box.
Oh, wow.
There's no mail.
And he has always shown this feature of his personality to mankind. Grace, the word comes from the Latin gratia, or gratia. In Latin, this word means pleasure, favor, or thanks. It stems from the Latin gratus, meaning pleasing or favorable. It has grown in meaning through the Catholic system to mean much more. My ear popped. It has become an imaginary, manipulated commodity in the hands of Roman priests and clergy, used to control the minds of the illiterate, uneducated masses. Under this kind of mental control, millions upon millions of people are blocked from properly understanding what the renewed covenant is, and what the message is that Yahusha brought to us to be spoken to every being on earth. To blaspheme, Hebrew nats or gadaf, is to treat or regard what is set apart, Hebrew kodesh, as common and ordinary. Even worse, we could regard it as an unclean thing, or even a teaching or manifestation originating from the evil one. What most of humanity has been taught about the obedience to the Torah, teachings, and covenant is error, because the falling away, apostasy, abandonment, standing away from truth has been at work. Huh? Yeah, in those perishing.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going now. I'm going.
The truth is our Father's word.
Love you guys. Love you.
Love you.
Good day, every day. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. Y'all have a good reading. I have to work. Hope everybody likes that.
Yeah. The truth is our Father's word, his Torah, yes, or covenant, 10 words. If we resist the truth, we will be judged. If we resist the spirit of truth, which comes to guide us into all truth, we have resisted the Ruach. If we speak against what the Ruach brings to us, or the Ruach himself, we have made a grave mistake. See Luke 12:10. Lawlessness is being without Torah. See 1, it says YOCH 3:4. Yehochanan, maybe? Yehochanan? I don't know.
Well, he gave me a bunch of change, but right?
Oh. Our hostility and rebellion against the covenant will exclude us from the promises in this life and in the world to come. In Catholicism, obedience to the covenant was replaced with men's traditions and mixed with paganism. What the Roman state system of Catholicism teaches as the source of our salvation, grace dispensed through its priesthood, is a blasphemy because it rejects the truth. And truth is what the Spirit of truth brings to us. Many Protestants have believed the RCC to be a Jezebel and the seat of the anti-Messiah. They are quite correct, but they must wash themselves of much more filth they have carried out of their mother. The secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the Master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth, in order for them to be saved. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion, for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but delighted in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, 7-12. The word Easter, as given in the dictionary. Easter, E-star, or E-star, a festival in the Christian church or circus commemorating the resurrection of Christ, or the J-Man. Middle English, yeah.
You have your phone, does it take
It's plugged in. Esther, Estre, Old English Eastre, from Eostre, Germanic goddess, whose festival occurred in the spring. Further etymological study will reveal this word comes from Astarte of the Romans, Aphrodite, Aprilis to the Greeks, Asherah and Astaroth and Ishtar to the Sumerians, Nimrod being the originating according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be saved. No. Knowing what we know now is blasphemy. Too strong a word. Knowing what we know now is blasphemy. Too strong a word to use to describe the deceit, syncretism, dogma, and false prophecy.
Who is that?
I don't know. Oh, it's 6 under here. Okay.
Hello? What?
Propagated across the earth by the corporation called the Roman and Eastern Orthodox Churches. I apologize. I had to pause for a second.
Trying to get our business.
Yeah. We will know a good tree by its fruit. Was the Inquisition good fruit? I think not. It lasted 600 years and still exists in form, equal biblique, and the Jesuit general, the Black Pope. Will this be raised up to persecute the Nazarene who resist the errors it teaches? The secret of lawlessness. This is also referred to as the mystery of iniquity. The text from Paul's letter to 2 Thessalonians above describes a coming religious system which would have power or authority, signs and wonders of falsehood. Do you think that Paul or Yahusha would endorse a festival observing Yahusha's resurrection, since this adds to the word? See Deuteronomy 4:2 and 12:32. Would they embrace such a name for it as Easter or Ishtar or Diana? I think not. This was a festival already in place among the pagans and celebrated the impregnation of the Earth Mother. This time of year called for fertility symbols such as rabbits. The egg is another fertility symbol. Venus or Aphrodite, Athena or Astarte was said to have landed in the Euphrates from the sky in a large egg, and it drifted to the bank amid the reeds. The reeds formed a type of basket around it. So the custom of painting eggs and placing them in baskets is around 4,000 years old, as Christmas is. The 7 assemblies of Revelation. These are described to Yehukanan by Yahusha as saints living in 7 time periods. Each has to overcome adversaries and deceptions and hold fast to the truth. Reading each of the 7 messages to the 7 assemblies will show you what has transpired over the centuries. The last 2 assemblies are Philadelphia and Laodicea. He told the assemblies of Philadelphia, "See, I am coming speedily." 3:11. He was headed back, but now see what he tells the assembly of Laodicea. Hold on. "See, I stand at the door and knock." 3:20. In Mark chapter 13, Yahusha explained the progression of events from the destruction of the temple in 70 CE all the way up to his return. He has appointed doorkeepers to watch, and the warning is now being given. The current assembly that is being warned today lives across the whole earth. They are among what Yahusha describes as the assembly of Laodicea. We see the lukewarm folks all around us. They don't know they are pitiable, poor, blind, and naked. He calls them today to anoint their eyes so that they might see. He even says that he is now standing at the door. We who are listening to what the Spirit says to the assemblies can hear him knocking. As pitiful as they are, some will take his advice and repent. Yahuwah doesn't need a time machine. He is time itself. He is present throughout eternity, past and future. He fills the universe in all aspects of it, physically and spiritually. He is a mind reader too. He's the only one who can read minds. He has also the ability to open minds and to close them. For the assembly of Laodicea, distress and darkness are ahead, and they will witness more widespread destruction than there has ever been since creation itself. The generation that witnesses the catastrophism at the end of days will not pass away until all Yahusha described at Mark 13 becomes reality. And immediately after the distress of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, or the Shamayim, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. The Spirit of truth guides us to prepare us for what is to come. The false prophets teach error, lawlessness, and cause many to be unprepared. Many Protestants have believed the RCC to be an Isabel, or a Jezebel, and the seat of the anti-Messiah. They are quite correct, but they must wash themselves of much more filth they have carried out of their mother. What happened? I remember reading that for some reason. Let me see here. Okay. 1 second, guys. The secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and bring to naught with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth, in order for them to be saved. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion, for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in the unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, 7-12. I remember reading to you guys about Easter, but I think that's on the other page too. Yeah, that's on the other page too. Okay. Okay, so this is the other part I left off at. So the custom of painting eggs and placing them in baskets is around 4,000 years old, as Christmas is. The pagan temples were brothels. The male and female prostitutes offered themselves to the worshippers and travelers. The days of the year they celebrated held sexual symbolism to them, since the seasons of the year brought to mind how the earth was becoming fertile in springtime, and what had been sowed at that time was born 9 moons later at the winter solstice. The unwanted babies were offered through fire into the arms of a great furnace shaped with the head of a bull and arms and body of a man. The idol was called Moloch. This furnace contained an opening in the lap, and when a child was placed into the open outstretched hands, these were mechanically lifted to the mouth of the image, and the child would fall into the belly of fire inside, passing through the hole in its lap. When a child sits in the lap of Santa, this same ritual is observed today. All these I shall give you if you fall down and worship me. The Talmid, whom Yahusha loved. Talmid is Hebrew for disciple, pupil, or student. And Kepha, Peter, turning around, saw the Talmid, disciple, student of a discipline, whom Yahusha loved following, who also had leaned on his breast at the supper and said, Master, who is the one delivering you up? Seeing him, Kepha said to Yahusha, But Master, what about this one? Yahusha said to him, If I wish him to remain till I come, what is that to you? You follow me. Therefore this word went out among the brothers that this Talmid would not die. However, Yahusha did not say to him that he would not die. But, if I desire him to remain until I come, what is it to you? This is the Talmid who bears witness about these and wrote these, and we know his witness is true. Yehukanan 21:20-24. From the secular record about John. Emperor Domitian imprisoned John in Rome and had him beaten, poisoned, and thrown into a cauldron of boiling oil. John stepped out unharmed and was banished to the island of Patmos instead. Quoted from www.mcmoran.org. It's mcmorran.org. Apparently he was never martyred, as many of the 12. Is it possible that he's still alive? Or did he escape Patmos and die naturally elsewhere? There are degrees of knowledge on any given subject. Excuse me. The more evidence we can gather to support a theory, the stronger we will feel compelled to believe the theory. A theory which has supporting evidence can influence us to believe the theory is true fact. Belief in something doesn't mean it is a fact. But to the one believing an idea is true, to them it can be a fact. To some extent, we can give weight to rumors or documentation passed down through history. But we have to accept that many things may be Marco Polo, embellishments, big lies. Even today, there are many urban myths which people believe, quite zealously. Yehukanan wrote down for us the words quoted above that passed between Yahusha and Kepha, as they related to the idea that Yehukanan would not die until Yahusha comes back. Is there any more evidence we can glean from Scripture about the possibility that original disciples who walked with Rabbi Yahusha are in fact still alive today walking among us? Yes. And he said to them, truly I say to you that there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the reign of Elohim having come in power. Malachi 9:1. Once again, let's recall the words recorded by Brother Mark at 9:2, the next verse. It's Mark 9:1, sorry. And then we go to Mark 9:2. And after 6 days, Yahusha took Kepha and Yaakov and Yehuchanan and led them up on a high mountain alone by themselves. And he was transformed before them. These same 3 men, Yaakov, Kepha, and Yehuchanan, were referred to as pillars or supports of the early assembly by Brother Paul or Shaul at Galatians 2:9, as we will investigate later. It could be concluded by some that this experience of witnessing the transformation of Yahusha was seeing the reign of Elohim having come in power, or it was but a partial fulfillment of what Yahusha meant. But could the words of Yahusha, there are some standing here who shall not taste of death at all, have been referring to something more than just what happened 6 days later, or even within that decade? He was probably telling us that something phenomenal was going to happen involving certain men standing there. Let's look at more pieces to the puzzle. Traditional accounts state that Kepha or Peter was murdered, and Yehuchanan was boiled in oil 3 times, and finally exiled to the island of Patmos. Was he unbreakable? If so, is he still unbreakable? Is there any remote possibility that he may turn out to be 1 or 2 of the literal men who are witnesses to Yahusha's life, teaching, resurrection, and ascension? The very idea is absolutely fantastic to consider, but we should be prepared for the unexpected and be ready to have both our ears tingle. This is the taught ones who bears witness about the matters and wrote these matters, and we know that his witness is true. Yehuchanan 21:24. He may bear witness again in person. And then that was the last part of the lesson for today. The next part is, for the next video, will be Day of Wrath for Gentiles, dividing the land, scattering the people, Yasharal. And that is a very long one, so that one is going to be just one lesson. And Yahuwah Baruch you all. I love you all, brothers and sisters of the truth, warriors of Yahuwah and the truth. Bye-bye.